Today's episode of America Unfiltered with James Paskalides. A $50 billion investment made by a Swiss pharma company is now happening in the United States thanks to Donald Trump. A shootout happened and Grady Judd is here to tell us about it. A Tim Walz employee has been caught vandalizing Teslas. Will or will he not face jail time? And we talk about a conservative who gives his take on the Carmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf drama. All that and much more coming up on today's episode of America Unfiltered with James Paskalides, starting now.
The moment is here. This is our moment.
America, we are back, baby. Welcome to another episode of America Unfiltered. This is episode 46. I talked to you guys about my topics already today. I'm going to dive right on into them. Our first topic today, there's a new $50 billion investment happening in the United States. So Swiss pharmaceutical giant Roche has announced a $50 billion investment into United States manufacturing over the next 5 years. This will create upwards of 12,000 jobs as well. This move is a direct response to President Trump's proposed 31% tariffs on Swiss imports. It's part of a broader effort by the company to still try and maximize their profits, but doing it in the United States. Everyone who doubted Donald Trump's plans about bringing jobs back to the United States is looking at this, looking at NVIDIA doing the same thing, looking at Apple, looking at all these companies bringing manufacturing back to the United States. And I don't know how they can still argue against Trump's tariffs. We're seeing it working in real time. This is something that Donald Trump knew exactly what he was doing. He used art of the deal and his negotiation skills to not only bring all these countries to the table when it comes to renegotiating the trade we have between them, but all the unfair trade practices that we've been dealing with for decades are now being eliminated. All the manufacturing we've moved overseas that was able to be manufactured in the United States, we're now bringing back as well. Obviously, we'll still keep some things manufactured in other countries where it's necessary or needed, but in general, as many manufacturing jobs as we can bring back to the United States, we should. It is important to hire American, buy American, and it is important to keep supporting American small and large businesses throughout the entire country. The more we do this, the more our economy flourishes, and the better it is for everyday Americans, for you and for me. I want to go on to our next topic today. I actually have a video I want to show you guys. This is one of my favorite people in Trump's cabinet. I'm going to show you a video of border czar Tom Homan talking to the media.
Yesterday, the president said this, and I quote, "We cannot give everyone a trial because to do so would take, without exaggeration, 200 years. Now, the court has said that those subject to the statute needed to be given the opportunity to challenge their removal. To me, I interpret that as a sense of due process. How do you interpret that?
I think due process was given, like the Maryland father, the MS-13 terrorist that was removed. He had due process. He was ordered removed by 2 different immigration judges. But here's what they're doing. But here's the plan. The Biden administration overwhelmed the system. 10.5 million people came to the border. They know it's going to take years to get through the court docket. By then, they're hoping there's another Democratic administration in. They'll have U.S. citizen children. Then all of a sudden, nobody wants them removed. We're spoiling their plans to have future Democratic voters and through a census, have control of the House. Through a census vote, Democratic sanctuary cities get more seats in the House. This is their plan. That's why they overwhelmed the system. That's why they didn't detain them. When they detain them, they get a hearing in 35 days. They released them. Now it's going to take 5 to 7 years. They're going to keep playing this game through the immigration courts, through appeal after appeal after appeal, district judge, to slow us down, because their hopes is they'll gain power again, then they can warrant amnesty to 10 million illegal aliens that are released in this country illegally. That is their plan, and we're trying to remove these public safety threats and national security threats as quick as possible. They're putting every roadblock imaginable in front of us to prevent us from doing that.
I generally do believe that this is the liberals and the left side's plan currently. I think that the full-scale invasion we saw under the Biden regime of millions, over 10 million illegal aliens pouring across the southern border, I believe it was a big voter drive for the Democrats. I believe that Joe Biden was trying to illegally import millions of voters, knowing that if they could give these people social security numbers, if they'd start having children, and if Democrats were able to control power, that they would be able to keep those lax immigration laws and allow these people to become citizens, to be able to vote in future elections, count on the census towards future House seats and things of that nature. It was a very elaborate plan, and still is a very elaborate plan by the Democrats. I'm very glad that conservatives have caught on to what is happening. That way they can try and mitigate the damage and try and eliminate the situation as a whole. I think only American citizens should be given the gifts that we get as Americans. You shouldn't be given due process as an illegal immigrant. You shouldn't be able to walk into this country, be given a court date 7 years in the future, and be told, okay, you're good for the next 7 years. That's a ridiculous thing that Joe Biden did and Kamala Harris did. Kamala Harris is not only an embarrassment as the borders are, but she's an embarrassment as a citizen of this country in general. Kamala Harris will go down in history as someone who did way worse for this nation than they did better. Every accomplishment Kamala Harris accomplished in her career before becoming vice president was absolutely destroyed, eviscerated, and wiped off the face of the earth the second she was the border czar and allowed millions of illegals to pour across the border. She is one of the worst persons I've ever seen in politics. She is so corrupt, so is Joe Biden, and the ongoing corruption that we're currently facing in this country with district judges trying to stop the president's executive authority to deport illegal immigrants out of this country is unconstitutional. I really hope that Donald Trump, Tom Homan, and the rest of the Trump administration is able to figure this out as soon as possible to continue the deportations, because that is what they ran on and that's what we voted for. Everyone who voted for Donald Trump voted for these mass deportations. I want to go on to our next topic. I want to show you guys, we have a few more videos today. This one is one I don't agree with at all. It does come from the conservative side, but this is a conservative talking about his reaction to the Carmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf murder and what he would like to see happen from the court case. And I completely disagree with this, and I'll talk to you guys about it right after.
I want them to find Carmelo Anthony not guilty. I want it more than I've ever wanted anything. I want them to set this precedent so fucking badly because I'm going to show up to every liberal space that I can. And the moment they try to force me to leave, I'm going to stab them in the fucking heart. Because, hey, that's fair, right? That's a rational response. That's what y'all keep saying. It's completely fair. He did nothing wrong. So if it's fair for him, it must be fair for the rest of us, right?
I understand that this person's making a joke. They're not actually serious about this. You could tell by the wink and, the faces they make, etc. I still do have a problem with it. I think things like this cause more divide and more tension. Obviously, this was a terrible murder. What happened? Carmelo Anthony stabbed Austin Metcalf in the heart at a track meet. He died in his brother's arms. An extremely tragic event for the family, for everyone surrounding that. The fact that people are taking Carmelo Anthony's side, saying it was self-defense when he stabbed another 17-year-old in the heart because he asked him to move out of the opposing team's tent that he shouldn't have been in the first place. It's one of the most ridiculous things. The fact that the lawyer is arguing that the only reason it happened is because the school didn't cancel the track meet because of the rain. Oh, yeah, if it didn't rain that day, you wouldn't have got stabbed. One of the most ridiculous things by that lawyer. Very ridiculous statement by this guy. I understand it's a joke. The irony of what he's saying still does make sense, though. If liberals and Democrats and corrupt judges want to say that this person is innocent because the guy asked him to move, so he stabbed him in the heart, this guy would not be wrong in what he's saying. That would open a precedent for people to just go to places they don't agree with when they're asked to leave, then stab the people in the heart who are asking them to leave. Obviously, this is something that would not be okay. I think it's clear that the courts are going to decide in Austin Metcalf's favor. I really don't. I don't see a scenario where Carmelo Anthony gets off of this murder, and I really pray he does neither. He stabbed another 17-year-old in the heart. Someone who will now not find a wife, won't have children, won't get to see their mother and father again. Their mother and father won't ever get to see them again. Because Carmelo Anthony, a 17-year-old, wanted to stab this individual in the heart. It's just very saddening, very sickening. It's a terrible, terrible thing that had happened, and it's very terrible the amount of people who are donating to Carmelo Anthony's cause and trying to get him off. I want to go on to our next video today. We have 2 more videos before we wrap up. This one is of one of my favorite people. This is of Grady Judd. Grady Judd is talking about a shootout that happened in Florida.
We don't know exactly how many shots were fired. I can tell you there were a lot of shots fired. It was a gunfight. It was clearly a gunfight. And we shot him a lot. And he won't ever shoot anyone else. He's dead. He asked to be shot and killed, and we obliged him.
You mentioned Judd is one of my favorite people. Very no nonsense. He's not a politician, but he almost seems like it because of how much he's in the media. He's a sheriff in Florida, and a very great one at that. If there was a Hall of Fame of sheriffs, this guy would run it. This guy is the greatest sheriff we have in Florida. Is no nonsense, and just the ability he has to shut down the media with their corrupt questions. I don't know. I really am. I'm so happy to be in the free state of Florida and know that I have sheriffs who have my back when it comes to looters, assaulters, things like this. In a state like California, it's so common that someone breaks in your car, breaks in your house, and the recourse is almost nothing. In Florida, someone breaks in your house, breaks in your car, you shoot them. The chance of someone reoffending when you shoot and kill them when they break in your house is 0. When you arrest them, put them in jail, it's a little bit higher, maybe a little less. When you just catch them and release them, it's definitely going to happen again. So I think states like California should definitely, and New York and things like that, should look at Florida and see what we're doing right. The fact that if someone broke in my house right now, I would be able to unload my clip on them. Just unload every single magazine I have in this drawer, and they could do nothing about it except just die. That's freedom. The fact that I have the right to protect my life, protect my home, protect my dog, protect my family, that's America. I think more states need to follow. The free state of Florida is the place to be. It is one of the freest states in the country, if not the freest. I do want to go on to our last topic today. I want to show you guys a video. This is another thing that, again, if it was happening in Florida, it would not happen. You might not be able to shoot this person for this, but you would definitely be able to tase them or some other non-lethal form of, deterrence. But I'm going to show you a video of one of Tim Walz's employees. So the person who was running for vice president, one of his employees is keying Teslas. And guess what? He won't face any jail time. This person is facing $0 in jail time. They do have to make restitutions to the owner of the Teslas, and they will have to be in a diversion program or whatever they want to call it, but where this person won't go to jail is absolutely absurd. It's corruption. It is everything that's currently wrong with our government and things like that. They're not prosecuting criminals while they are trying to target Americans over free speech and things like that. I have a huge problem when stuff like this happens. It only happens in liberal states. If something like this was to happen in Florida, it would immediately be checked. The police would immediately be involved. They would not let it happen. It's very sad that things like this are able to be happening. People are able to get away with this, and the government and the police do little to nothing about it in liberal states. I'm James Paskalides. This is episode 46. I'm signing off today. I hope you guys have a blessed day. I won't have an episode tomorrow, so I will see you guys Monday. Thank you.